The Para Cave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Para Leagues, platinum sponsor Baytech Recruitment, The Corner Post, Wick Coffee, Ashore Strata Reports, Spot On Hose and Fittings, Wine Barrel Event Hire Sydney, Rubbish Removal Kings, and Flash Conveyancing. Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels. Across from CommBank Stadium, it is perfect for your pre-game meal at one of the many options to eat, and also a Jack's Pale Ale as well. Or simply have a roll in Kicks 10-pin or play one of the many arcade games as well. See you all there pre-game at Parramatta Leagues Club, or simply head to the website www.paraleagues.com.au to see what's on, and don't forget to sign up as a member today to enjoy one of the many member-only options. Parramatta Leagues Club, proud sponsors of the Para Cave Podcast.
Baytech Recruitment. Baytech Recruitment. Where we're gonna find you the perfect match. All the tradies you can think of in any industry. Look out for a wrapped up Mitsubishi, Fridgie, Sparkies, Bombers Plus. Whatever the trade, just give us a buzz. Baytech Recruitment.
Give us a buzz now.
So give Chris a buzz on 0414 922 272 today.
Let's go! Welcome back to another show. Hi, how are ya? It's a Para Cave Podcast coming at ya. Turn it up, feel the vibe, blue and gold, step inside the cave. Yeah. Easy try in the corner. Here's your host, Troy Water, coming to you live from the world famous Para Cave.
Hi, how are ya? Welcome back to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. This is the NRL Round Review Podcast, proudly brought to you by Para Leagues Club. And look, what a round in the NRL. It was round number 20. How did you go on your tips this weekend? I got, 5 out of 8. I missed 3 tips, unfortunately, and I used my joke around as well. So, look, I climbed a few places, but anyway, how was your tipping during the week? I should talk about that more in the tipping podcast, which will come out soon. But anyway, it was a great round of football. Some major injuries, unfortunately, to some players in this round, which we'll get to very, very soon. But some great action as well, some great upsets as well. And it started all back on Thursday last week at CommBank Stadium in front of 15,437 fans. It was a win to the Broncos. They snapped an 8-game losing streak to beat the Panthers, who are top of the table at the moment, at the moment anyway, and it was 12-8 at half time, and look, it was, the Panthers didn't score a point in the second half, and the Broncos, they went on to score a try in the second half to Josiah Karapani, and Reece Walsh nailed it from the sideline. It was probably the first time that the Broncos had all of their stars in this team. Reece Walsh, Pat Carrigan, Payne Haas, Katoni Staggs, Shibasaki, Adam Reynolds, Ezra Mam. So it was probably the first time that they really had their full strength lineup in this game, and it was crucial because they needed this victory to stay in touch for that top 8. And look, I don't think they will make the top 8 because they've got some tough games ahead, but look, they won't think that after this win. Can they go on a run? As I said, they'll have got some tough games ahead, but this will do their cause no harm at all. It was a great away-from-home victory. The Panthers, look, there was a controversy moment that I did see during the game, and that was the Brian Toto kick that was not allowed. And look, it was plenty of Penrith fans. They came out and was blaming the refereeing. And look, refereeing, it is a tough job in the NRL, and certainly there was a lot of calls throughout this round that referees made and the bunker made that plenty of people have discussed. And I think, look, it is a topic worth talking about. It is a tough gig being a referee, that is for sure. But look, the bunker, that needs to be reviewed for sure, because some of these calls are absolutely, completely wrong, and fans can see that on TV and at the games and whatever. And look, it hasn't cost a grand final yet, but that old saying is, oh, what happened if that happened in a grand final? If that call happened in a grand final, who knows what would have happened. But look, I'm disappointed that Panthers lost to excuse me, because I tipped them, and straight away on the Thursday, there goes my perfect round. But anyway, that's 3 out of their last 4, I think, that they have lost now, the Panthers. So they are just, I don't know what's going on with them at the moment. They just, is it just a little bit of a form slump after Origin, during and after Origin? Who knows? The unfortunate thing for me and many others is that Panthers play Parramatta this week. So, can they bounce back? They've lost 8 out of their last 9 Thursday games, so it's probably a good time to get the Panthers on a Thursday night, to be honest. But look, Brian Toto scored 2 tries. Cleary, 1 out of 2 conversions, 1 penalty goal. Jordan Ricky, he opened up the scoring with a 4th-minute try off a kick just before the dead ball line. And look, all I can say is well done to the Broncos for winning that game, and keeps their finals charges in hope. Look, I don't think the Panthers will be too worried about that. Obviously, they'll be disappointed they lost, but they still sit upon the top of the NRL ladder. The first Friday night game, well, that was a cracker of a game too. That was only a 2-point victory as well to the Sharks, 20 points to 18 at Shark Park, 11,123 there, 14-12 at half time. And Newcastle, they started off perfectly with Kalen Ponga scoring the first try in the match, but then the Sharkies, they came back and scored the next one, and then the Newcastle Knights scored one, and then the Sharkies scored one, and then the Newcastle Knights scored one, and then the Sharks scored one, and then the Knights scored one. So it did look like at one stage there that the Knights were going to come back and snatch this victory, but the Sharks, they held on. Nico Hines, perfect with the boot again, 3 from 3 conversions, 1 penalty goal as well. Mulatalo got a try, Katoa got a try, and Will Kennedy got a try as well. The Knights actually scored 4 tries to 3, so if Kalen Ponga had his kicking boots on, they would have won the game. An off night for him with the boot, 1 out of 4. So, look, I mean, you could say that it cost the Knights the game there, but, well, it did, didn't it? If he converted those tries, even 2 of those more goals, then they would have won 22 points to 20. But the Sharks, they had that massive win against the Dolphins the week before. This was a gritty, grinding sort of a victory. I did tip the Sharks to win, so thankfully they did win, but they, even though they got the win, would they be happy with this performance? They nearly let the Knights steal it from them. I think the Newcastle Knights, they are looking at themselves. They are slowly sliding out of that top 8. Can they hold on for the rest of the season? I haven't seen their draw for the rest of the year, but they've had a couple of losses now in a row because they've lost to South Sydney last week, and now the Sharks, and I think they've got the Roosters next week as well. That game is back at home, so they've got some tough a tough road ahead. They do have the Roosters, as I said, up on Friday night footy next week. And then the Broncos, who are also desperate to win. The Raiders, who are desperate to win. The Titans, who had a win over the weekend. Then the Sea Eagles, who will be desperate as well, and then the Warriors. So they've got a tough run home, the Newcastle Knights. Thankfully, they've got a bye in the last round of the competition. So that will be interesting to see how they go for the rest of the year. But they will be ruining that decision, or not the decision, but they will be ruining the chance of victory in that game because, as I said, they were in it. It was a bit of a tit-for-tat game, but the Sharks, they held on, and I think that, look, they'll be happy about that as well. They had less possession in the game as well, only just, but their completion rate was better, so errors did cost the Newcastle Knights in that game, but they gave away too many penalties as well. But look, they just have to reset and go on to next week, and we'll go through who plays next week a little bit later anyway as well. The second game on Friday night, that was a low-scoring game as well. That was the Roosters and the Storm. The Roosters getting the victory 14 points to 6, 3 tries to 1. 8-0 at half-time. The Roosters, the Roosters, they struggled against the Storm and the Panthers over the last 20 games, so they've only won 3 of them. So, look, to get this monkey off the back was probably a good thing. They beat the Storm. The Storm were without Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes, but the Roosters were also without James Tedesco, Lindsay Collins, and Rob Toya as well. But Daniel Tupou, he got the final try of the game to add to his tally once again. Billy Smith, who's been playing some good footy, coming back from his injury off his e-scooter, I think it was, a while back now, his e-bike. And Siwa Wong, he got the first try of the game as well. Stefano Utukamanu got the try for the Storm. Nick Meaney converting. Nick Meaney had a chance to score a try in the corner. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a tough pass from Suafa'alongo, but he dropped it over the line. Would have been a chance to get back to 14-12. But as I said, he dropped the ball over the line, so a bit of a disappointment there for him. But look, tough night at the office for the Storm. Nat Butcher, he got on report, I think, for a high shot, which absolutely did not look like a high shot. Well, look, it tapped him on the head. I mean, come on. I mean, really? I think that's when they scored the Melbourne Storm after that next set. But, look, really? I mean, yeah, sure, there was contact with the head. And I understand that the NRL do not want contact with the head at all. But, look, I mean, that was one of the most embarrassing penalties I've seen because, look, there was contact with the head, I will admit that, yeah, for sure. And rules are rules, but, that was a ridiculous penalty. And, look, I just can't say much more about that one because I just don't think it was a penalty. But, look, rules are rules, unfortunately. The Roosters, they beat Parramatta the week before. They play Newcastle this week in a tough game up there in Newcastle. I think James Tedesco will be back as well for them, which will be good for them, a big boost for them. They've got some tough games as well. They do sit in third position on the ladder, and we'll go through that a little bit later as well. But they've got the Knights, the Cowboys, the Bulldogs, the Panthers, the Tigers, the Dolphins, and the Rabbitohs. That traditional game at the end of the season. So the Storm, they still need to win games to get into this top 8. They sit outside it now. They will play, they're in 11th spot on the ladder. They play the Rabbitohs, the Bulldogs, the Sea Eagles, the Panthers, the Broncos and the Sharks. That'll be a grudge match, that one. So all teams that are above them except the Broncos. So they also have a bye in there in round 24 as well. So that will help their cause for getting in the top 8 as well, because that's a guaranteed 2 points. But yeah, look, it's going to be touch and go without Cameron Munster for a number of weeks now. They're one of their playmakers. That will be tough. I'm not too sure how long Jerome Hughes is out for, but they will find it tough to get victories with those two out. The unfortunate news for the Melbourne Storm as well, and look, you don't like to see any player get injured in the NRL, and even if it is a rival team, I guess, as well. And Will Warbrick, unfortunately, he suffered an Achilles tendon injury, so he is out for the season and probably most of next season as well, unfortunately. He is off to the Warriors, so he has played his last game for the Melbourne Storm. So thoughts go out to him for that one. He was desperate. Not desperate. He was distraught when he knew that he did that. Got the Medicab off the ground, and it was great to see, and something that I probably haven't seen any team really do it, I don't think. But his Melbourne Storm teammates ran over to him and sort of just gave him a high five, not a high five, but a handshake. You know what they do. Because they could see the disappointment in his face and the like, and they knew it was a serious injury. So it was great camaraderie from his Melbourne Storm teammates about that one. That's a long-term injury. He will be signed, or he's already signed for the Warriors, I think, next year. So, unfortunately, that was his last game for the Melbourne Storm. So, another injury to their list at the moment as well. The first game on Saturday, that was an exciting game. That was the Raiders and the Rabbitohs down at GIO Stadium in Canberra. Good crowd down there, 19,659. I think that could have been on the back of the Raiders beating the Bulldogs last week. And look, they are still in the hunt for the top 8, but they need to win every game from now on as well, and results go their way. They got out to a 28-0 lead, and then the Rabbitohs... they got out to a 28 points to 6 lead at half time. And look, were they cruising at that stage? Yeah, for sure. Definitely. They scored in the 2nd minute, 9th minute, 19th, 24th, 27th. So 5 tries in that first half, and they were flying. So that score could have been anything. Bit disappointing from the Rabbitohs. They had that good win against Newcastle last week. They still did let in a lot of points against Newcastle last week as well. But they did come back. They scored 6 in the first half and 24. They ended up with 24 points in the second half. There was just a point there where they just ran out of time, I thought. They were coming back. Cameron Murray scored in the 49th minute. Cody Walker, 65th minute. They were just running out of time. They had a try disallowed as well, but it was to no avail because the Raiders got the victory in the end. How about KO Weeks? How much pace does he have? I think it was his first try. Just got a ball. I forget who it was from, but just basically it was about 40 metres out, I thought. 35, 40 metres out, and just took off. So much pace at the back there. Hudson Young, he scored a try as well, and like Will Warbrick, he has unfortunately suffered an Achilles tendon injury. So he is out for the rest of the season and most of next season, unfortunately, and also the World Cup for Australia as well. He would have been one of the back rowers picked, definitely. So he is out, unfortunately, for the Raiders. That's a massive blow for them. He's one of their best players, obviously won the State of Origin series with New South Wales as well. massive blow for the Raiders, which, is a bad thing, obviously, because they need to win every game, and he's one of their star players. And also for Australia as well, because he'll be out of the World Cup. So it begs to answer who will replace him in that second row position for Australia in that World Cup. Now, I think Jacob Preston, he went away on the Ashes tour last year with Australia. Potentially he might be a fit. He has been out injured this year. Probably not setting the world on fire like he did last year, but he did go on that kangaroo tour last year. You've also got Dylan Lucas as well, who played State of Origin this year and has been having a cracker of a season for Newcastle, the reason why they're going so well as well. So there's a couple of options as well. Hamoli Olakawatu as well, although he will probably represent, I think it's Tonga, I think. I will stand corrected if I am wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry if I'm wrong about that one. I think it is Tonga, though. So the Raiders, they move on with another victory in their charge for the top 8. The Warriors and the Dragons were the next game, and look, I really feel sorry for the Dragons because they came back, or they were in this game for a long, long time, and they were actually leading at half-time, 12 points to 10, and I just think that there was one point there, the Setu 2 try got disallowed, and there was also a time there where they got a penalty, but it was not further down a field where it was supposed to be. But the Dragons, look, I've been saying this for a few weeks now, they are playing good footy. And they're just not getting the wins, unfortunately, but they are pushing a lot of teams that they are playing, and certainly better off than when they started this season. And maybe it's a bit of a late season surge or not, I don't know, but trying to get off that bottom of the ladder. But they really gave it to the Warriors. The Warriors had to work for this win. Khan Pereira, he got a try, and what a try that was. Another player with speed. He just basically stepped the player, I think it was off a scrum play, and it was about 35 metres, 40 metres out, 30 metres out, and just basically the ball went out to him. He stepped the player and just basically took off, bang, and scored a try. And great to see him do the Jai Arrow try, Jai Arrow salute celebration to raise money for MND and Jai Arrow. That was great to see as well, and the other players as well that did it in the men's and the women's competitions. That was great. Again, another weekend of celebrations, but that was the first time they played in New Zealand for a while, for a few weeks, and they were lucky to get the win, I thought. So, kudos to the Dragons. They are improving. Their young forward pack, well, they just keep on going. They can play for a lot. They can play for 80 minutes, which makes it a little bit easier on the rotation of the bench as well for Coach Dean Young. But look, they're going to have players go there next year. Keon Kolamatangi, Luke Metcalf, Scott Drinkwater. So they're slowly building into something. But even this year, they are playing some good footy. Unfortunately, just not getting the wins. Sometimes a little bit hard done by in the refereeing ranks as well. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, is he one of the greatest finishers in the corners of wingers that we have seen? Yes, probably. Because he scored another try down the wing. Didn't have a lot of space to work with, but managed to get that ball across the line. Two clubs that were under a lot of pressure, I guess. The West Tigers, with that Jerome Luai news during the week of him signing with Parramatta for 2027, and talks of a little bit of unrest at the club between him and Coach Benji Marshall. which Benji came out and denied, and the Bulldogs, who are slowly trying to make their way into the finals. No Stephen Crichton for this game, but it was a shutout, 32 points to nil. First time Lachlan Galvin has beaten his former club, the Tigers. 20,000 there at Accor Stadium on a Saturday night. It was a cold Saturday night too as well. What can you say about the Tigers? I don't know. Is the Jerome Luai signing at Parramatta and the things that are going on off field, are they a distraction for them on the field? Yeah, you'd have to think so, wouldn't you? I mean, they had Api Coruscant come back, which was a big boost for them, but still could not get the job done. Only 45% possession as well, so when you don't have the ball, obviously you can't score points, can you? But that was a thing that they were Tigers. They just at the moment are in a real rut at the moment, so does not get any easier for them. I think they were playing some good footy at the start of the year. That was all before Jerome Luai signed with PNG, so is that the time that all things have turned around for the Tigers? They did suffer a few injuries as well in this, not in this game, but throughout the season as well. What is going on at the Tigers? The Bulldogs, well, they needed to win this game. They needed to win this game to keep their finals hunts alive, which they did, and did pretty convincingly. Gave their for and against a good boost, 32 points boost to nil. Matt Burton, perfect with the boot, 6 from 6, 5 tries as well. So, look, they sort of keep their slim finals chances alive. 18-0 at half-time. They're always in control of the game. Alex Twal, well, you saw the footage. If you haven't already, it's around there on social media of him giving, Jamin Salmon a bit of a shove in the face. A lot of people loved the aggression there as well from him. Obviously, these days you can't throw a punch. So he just gave him a real good shove in the face. Sunday footy action started up on the Gold Coast, and wow, it was a high-scoring affair. 70 points scored in this game. 15,252 in attendance. Pretty good crowd for the Gold Coast, I thought. And they got the victory, 7 tries to 6, 38 points to 32, as I mentioned. I thought maybe the Sea Eagles were coming back in the end. Controversial try awarded to Ruben Garrick. Was he offside? Yes, he was, I thought. But the bunker awarded that. That was one of the controversial decisions throughout the weekend that the bunker gave. So yes, he scored. But Tom Trbojevic, he scored a try in the first minute. Now, that was a big talking point out of this game as well. Unfortunately for Tom, he has suffered another hamstring injury. How long is he going to be out for? Who knows? But that is a cruel blow for the Sea Eagles with Tom Trbojevic out injured once again. And look, I mean, rival team to mine, Parramatta, but as I said, you don't want to see the best players in the game injured. You want to see them playing, and it's a shame that Tom has gone down again. Look, questions are being asked about his fitness and how does he manage the rest of his career now that he's suffering these hamstring injuries. I don't have the answers, obviously, because I'm no doctor, physician, trainer, so I wouldn't know, to be honest, but it certainly is a concern when you think. But yeah, again, as you would, he looked devastated when he walked off the field yesterday up there on the Gold Coast. But kudos to the Titans. Oliver Pascoe got 2 tries. Jojo Chafita also got 2 tries as well, and like the Dragons, they are playing confident footy at the moment, and they are getting some victories, which is, good for them. They are building as well, slowly building. They've got a lot of young players in their side, but they are playing some good footy. Obviously, 54% possession over Manly. You're going to have more of the ball, and they held on to the ball more than Manly as well. So, great to see the Titans. Look, I did tip the Sea Eagles in this one, but I always thought that the Titans could win this game because they have shown in previous weeks that they have got the victories when they needed them, and they have been playing some good footy. They're just getting a good confidence about themselves. They are winning the close games. They beat the Panthers 19-18. They went down to the Storm last week, but they shouldn't have. They'll be confident in beating the Dragons this week. That might actually be a really good game to watch, to be honest. Two teams that are playing some good footy. They are down the bottom of the table, unfortunately, but the Titans, they will do some damage to some teams' finals hopes. They've got the Warriors, Cowboys, Knights, Sharks, Rabbits, and Dolphins in the last round, so they will do some damage to those sides because they will get a couple of victories along the way, and it's good to see. AJ Brimson, good player, scored a try. What about that? Was it 80-metre run he made? Just again, speed. They just got through the line and just took off. It was a shame he couldn't get across the line. 28-14 at half-time. They were in control. They did let the Sea Eagles back in the game, but thankfully they held on for a victory. The final game on Sunday was the Dolphins and the Cowboys, two Queensland teams. And look, it was a very close game for most part of it, but then it sort of blew out a little bit in the end. It ended up 36 points to 16. A good turnaround for the Dolphins after their embarrassing loss to the Sharks last week. 35,213 in the crowd, 6 tries to 3. Jermaine Osako, I spoke about Dallin Watene-Zelezniak being one of the best finishers in the game, but Jermaine Osako as well. He is one of the best finishers as well. The way that he dives over that line in the corner, and with that rule that has been around now for a few years now, that the corner post doesn't play any part of a try or being in or out, how good is that rule being enforced now as well? But he is a great finisher in the corner as well. The way that he dives across that line and still manages to get the ball across the line. Great goal kicker as well, 6 from 6. The Dolphins are going to miss him next year. He's off to the Melbourne Storm. The Melbourne Storm have got a good one there, replacing Will Warbrick. That is for sure. But the Dolphins, good confidence win for them. The Cowboys, they started off the game really well. I think they got out to 10-0 and tries to Tommy Dearden on his return from injury. Jeremiah Nanai as well. And they were out in front 10-0 cruising. The Dolphins had to come back. They retained the lead at half-time, 12-10 the Dolphins. So, and then just really went on with it in the second half. 2 quick tries in that first half to Osako and Gilbert. Then Maxi Plath and sorry, I've butchered that name. I really apologise. Got a try in the 78th minute as well. That's a hard name for me to say. I apologise for that one. But the Dolphins, they got the win, and that will do them with a world of confidence, stay in touch with that top 8. And the Cowboys, they are still there as well. But, that was a confidence win for the Dolphins. The Cowboys, well, look, they will obviously rue that decision to lose that game. Well, not a decision to lose that game, but losing that game, because they have a reasonable run into the finals. They do have a bye in round 25. But they play the Broncos this week, another team that's desperate. Then the Roosters, the Titans, the Eels, the Tigers and Raiders to finish off the year. So, will they make it? Will they make it? I don't know, but that would have not done them any good. They would not be happy about that loss there. Let's go to the ladder as it stands after round number 20, and it's the Panthers. They've only got a 2-point gap now on the Warriors, who had a win over the weekend. But they still are in first position. The Warriors are second, along with the Roosters on 30 points, and the Sharks are on 28, so a 2-point gap to the Dolphins, who are now in fifth position after that win over the Cowboys. So that is your top four, and it's still very congested, so every win is crucial from here on in. The Dolphins are in fifth, with the Knights in sixth on 26 points. The Rabbitohs and Cowboys round out the top 8 on 24 points. The Rabbitohs in 7th, the Cowboys in 8th. Manly in 9th on 22 points, along with the Bulldogs in 10th. The Storm on 20 points in 11th, alongside the Raiders, who are in 12th. The Broncos are now on 18 points after their win against Penrith in 13th spot. The Tigers dropped down to 14th, also on 18, and Parramatta also on 18 points in 15th. The Titans are in 16th spot on 16 points, and the Dragons are still in that 17th position on 10 points. To next week's draw, and it is it kicks off on Thursday. The Eels take on the Panthers at CommBank Stadium. The Knights and the Roosters is the first game on Friday night football, followed by the Rabbitohs and Storm. The Raiders again at home on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock against the Tigers. The Bulldogs take on the Warriors. The Cowboys play the Broncos. That is your Saturday action. On Sunday, it is the Dragons taking on the Titans, and the Sea Eagles playing the Sharks, the Battle of the Beaches. And the Dolphins have the bye this weekend, which makes their win against the Cowboys even more important. A 4-point win, you could say. Thank you very much for listening to this round review of the NRL, round number 20. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please give me a follow on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to this podcast. Share it with your family and friends. That would be most appreciated. And the Parrot Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go!
Thanks for listening to another